Hi everyone and welcome back. Now for you on YouTube, you will notice that there isn't a review at the end of episode 3. I wasn't particularly happy with it. It will be on my Patreon, but I felt as if episode 3 and 4 could be compressed together in my thought process. I feel like these two episodes probably are the best considering the situation that arises. It also gives me a bit of time to think about the episodes and characters and then kind of relay them together, because I feel like it is a discussion that clearly does need to be talked about, and I feel like being able to sit back for a few days and then look at each character and see my viewpoint on every single person, and I feel like that's why I don't want it up there. I just didn't really like it, to be honest, as well, and I just feel I would be better able to present my thought process now. I've been absolutely loving this show. I think, personally for me, it's been very, very strong, even with what happened in the last episode. But I'll talk about episode 3 and what transpires in this episode at the end. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Oh, we're gonna go back to this moment. Okay. I can imagine this moment angered a lot of people. That's why I also wanted to be in a clearer state of mind to talk about this.
กูกลับมานะเจอกัน
Again, it just feels like Jai is more focused on his career than what actually transpired between them. The problem is Tay is infatuated. And you know you did wrong. Problem is what happens now that they overcrossed that boundary, they stepped over it. You can't really go back to that sort of friendship.
Hello โทษทีพอดีเมื่อกี้ซ้อมจนเลท
Oh, he
นี่
saw.
อยู่ไหนเนี่ย
He saw everything.
เขาจะโทรมาบอกว่าวันนี้ไปไม่ได้แล้วนะเพื่อนติดงานนะ
อ๋อ
Now,
ไม่เป็นไร
I'm wondering if he's doing this to kind of not hurt himself even more.
โอเคงั้นขอทำงานก่อนนะ
He's trying to be strong, and I wonder if he's trying to push it down so that he believes in the lie that they're okay. Oh clearly loves Tay with all his heart, and I'm not saying Tay doesn't love him back with all his heart, but something has changed. That you can't really go back to how you once were.
แต่พี่เขาบอกให้จำความรู้สึกไปใช้ในซีนนะหรือมันจะเป็นแค่เวิร์กช็อปวะกูว่านะมันคุยกับเต๋ให้รู้เรื่องไปเลยดีกว่า
Yeah, I like that he went to other people to ask. Like you do ask your friends.
ทำไมวะ
He's afraid of the answer.
ก็มันยังไม่มีอะไรชัดเจนเลยฮะกูอยากรู้ให้มากกว่านี้แล้วกูค่อยพูดแล้วก็ต้องมานั่งเดาอยู่แบบนี้เนี่ยนะ
Yeah, you're gonna drive yourself insane with what ifs.
กูว่าในล็อกบุ๊กไอ้เต๋อะมันน่าจะจบด้วยกับเวิร์กช็อป
Don't go and read it.
ล็อกบุ๊กอะไรวะเฮ้ยเต๋ออะไรเราคุยกัน
But moments like this,
เนี่ยเหรอ
and because he slept with
นิด
him
หน่อยอะ
to get a more sense of the role, there's a lack of respect.
อดไปกินข้าวกันเลยเนาะ
Oh. Because you can't get a sense of, is Tay doing this because he genuinely realizes his mistake and misses him, or is this like when someone cheats and then they go back home and they just act as if nothing happened? And you can see the tears that have been in O's eyes. Oh. Will he turn away from him? Good. I'm glad he did.
ไปอาบน้ำก่อนไป
Because when someone turns away from you like that, there's usually something wrong. Very beautifully acted scene, by the way. You see all of these emotions just flit across both of their faces. This is really going to hurt you.
เราเคยสัญญากับโอ้ว่าถึงโอ้จะเปลี่ยนไปแค่ไหนเราก็ยังจะรักโอ้เหมือนเดิม
Oh
แต่
no.
เอาเข้าจริงพอไปดูละครคนเดียวทีไรในใจมันก็คิดเรื่องไอโอ้ทุกทีมันเหมือนเขาค่อยๆกลายไปเป็นคนอีกคนที่เราไม่รู้จักมาก่อนถึงเราจะรักโอ้มากแต่ก็ต้องยอมรับว่า
Have
ความรู้สึก
changed.
บางอย่างของเรา
Which makes sense.
เปลี่ยนไปบ้างเหมือนกัน
I mean, we do change. Our feelings change.
เซ็กส์ครั้งแรกของเราเกิดกับโอเอ๋วเราจำได้ว่าเราทำที่ไหนแต่จำรายละเอียดอื่นๆแทบไม่ได้แล้วอะเข้าใจเวลาคบใครนานๆกูก็ลืมอะไรแบบนี้เหมือนกันลองค่อยๆคิดหาวิธีการเรียกความทรงจำกลับมานะ
Oh no, recall memory, and he's going to be thinking of Jai.
ขอบคุณที่เปิดเผยกับกู
Because he obviously gets to...
ซ้อนแต่กูเข้าใจมึงนะวันนี้รู้สึกน้อยมากเป็นครั้งแรกที่รู้สึกถ่วงทีมอยู่กูเชื่อในตัวมึงกูเลือกมึงมาเพราะเชื่อว่ามึงเล่นได้
I mean, he's been like a teacher.
พี่จ่ายแม่งพุ่งกับสายโฉดว่ะตัวจริงก็โฉด
See, his feelings for him have changed.
เรามาคุยเรื่องนี้กันหน่อยสิพรุ่งนี้ข้าวเที่ยงร้านเจตอง
See, the way he talks about Jai, he's infatuated. It's not love. Just want to make that clear. It's not love. Well, he was doing the graphics, wasn't he? The advertisement.
มีอะไรอ่ะเอาโปสเตอร์มาส่งอ่ะเมื่อวานไม่ได้เอามา
Oh, you came yesterday.
เอาโปสเตอร์มาส่งครับโหพิมพ์จริงแล้วสวยมาก
And he looks so sad. Look, oh, looks sad, like how he would be in real life.
พี่วันนี้ขอดูเวิร์กช็อปได้ดิได้ดิก็ดีเหมือนกันนะจะได้มีสายตาเป็นเฟชมาดูด้วยอยากได้ความเห็นอยู่พอดี
I don't know if you want his comments.
ทุกคนเดี๋ยวเตรียมพร้อมกันเลยนะจะเริ่มรันกันละไปวอร์ม
Oh, that was interesting. He went to touch him and he moved away from him there. He didn't pay any sort of attention.
ขอบคุณนะที่มาช่วยงานพี่ไม่ได้อาคีหนังงานพี่คงไม่ได้รางวัลแบบนี้
ไม่เป็นไรครับเห็นงานที่ประสบความสำเร็จผมก็ดีใจ
พี่ไม่รู้จะตอบแทนยังไงดี
No. It's still too awkward.
โทษพี่หยุดก่อนงั้นเดี๋ยวพักก่อนก็ได้นะแต่รักษา energy นี้ไว้นะ
Yeah, and also it's the
เป็นไร
actress. She's doing this on purpose, the actress. But it's also her mechanisms aren't working either. Like neither of them feel connected. Problem is he going to be thinking of Jai when he does this scene?
ทำไมกลับมาเล่นเหมือนเดิมอีกแล้วใส่ความหมายให้การกระทำของตัวละครหน่อยดิ
He is, isn't he? He's going to think of him. He's feeling guilty. And soon there might be no AO in Tay's world. Oh, this is not good. I understand where he's coming from in terms of an actor's perspective. He's saying the right things as a director, but because of what's transpired. Oh no. Jai's using him. He's manipulating the situation here, which is going to make Tay feel even stronger for him. See his reaction, Tay? This was very poor on Jai's perspective. Like, what he did there was wrong. I don't like that from Jai. He's using him, and he knows he's using those feelings between them. It's very not a good trait.
ขอบคุณนะที่มาช่วยงานพี่ ไม่ได้คินอ่ะงานพี่คงไม่ได้รางวัลแบบนี้
I want her to be a bit more sultry.
ไม่เป็นไรครับ ผมเห็นงานที่ประสบความสำเร็จ ผมก็ดีใจ
พี่ไม่รู้จะตอบแทนยังไงดี
There we go. There's the connection. He's thinking of him. And he does that sniffing thing when he feels close to someone. See, once again, they're showing Jai kissing Tay. Or at least he went back into the kiss. See the passion in both of them in this moment? He forgets Oeo was an actor too.
ดีเลยนะ
It's also the level of disrespect Jai has for O. He knew he was there and he still did what he did and said what he said.
ก็ดีนะพี่ ตอนอ่านบทคร่าวๆก็ไม่ค่อยเข้าใจ แต่พอมาดูของจริงก็เข้าใจขึ้น
Mm-hmm.
เช่นไง
Oh, I was there.
ที่อาคินกับพี่แฟงครับเขายั่วยวนกัน
It's like what he was seduced in Tay.
พอเห็นเป็นภาพก็เข้าใจความรู้สึกตัวละครมากขึ้นนะครับ แต่ว่าเห็นในเต๋มันบ่นว่าเล่นซีนนี้ไม่ค่อยได้อะพี่ทำไงอ่ะมันถึงเล่นได้อะ
ก็ไม่ได้ทำไงนะ
Oh, you're lying here.
มันแค่เสียสมาธิอ่ะ พี่ก็เลยทำสมาธิมันใหม่
อ๋อ ก็นึกว่าจะมีเวิร์กช็อปพิเศษอะไรอีก
This, I love how he's starting to realize what he means by this.
หมายความว่าไง
เมื่อวานผมมาที่เนี่ย
And I saw everything.
ผมเห็นหมดแล้ว
คือ คืออะไร
No, don't act innocent in
ที่
this
จูบมัน
moment.
ไง
Yeah.
อืม ก็เวิร์กช็อปซีนนี้แบบที่น้องเห็น
No,
จริ
it
งๆแหละ
wasn't, because you didn't
เวิร์ก
have
ช็อป
to
อะไร
kiss
พี่
him.
พุ่มกับจูบกับนักแสดงอ่ะ
ก็มันวิธีการกำกับผม
เต้น
พี่
กำกับของพี่อะไร
Good on you, O, for standing up against him.
น้องก็เห็นไม่ใช่หรอว่าพี่ทำให้เต๋มันเล่นได้จริง
No, what you did was allow that
ๆ
infatuation
ยิ่ง
to
อยาก
build
ให้น้อง
up.
มานั่งคิดมากอะไรแบบนี้นะ ไอ้เต๋มันเป็นนักแสดงนะ ถ้าวันหนึ่งมันได้ไปเล่นบทที่ต้องจูบกับคนอื่นอีกอะ
That's
น้อ
not
ง
what it
จะ
was
น้อยใจ
about.
ไปเรื่อยๆหรอ
You know exactly what you were doing here. You're trying to manipulate the situation.
ก็เพื่อละครของพี่
He,
และถ้า
in
เต๋
this
มันเล่นได้
moment,
จริง
Jai is not showing himself to be a good person. Wow. See how he switched the situation around to make himself to almost like he was the victim and that O was the bad guy and it's his fault. This is going to cause even more friction between them. As much as you guys love Jai and I've seen everyone loves him, that was a very clear indication he doesn't care who he hurts in these moments as long as he gets what he wants. Which I think builds up from him in the first instance we meet him.
เป็นไรเปล่ามึงรักกูไหม
I do think he does, and I'll talk about this at the end of the episode. He does.
รักดิงั้นจูบกู
ๆ อ๋อ มีอะไรมึงก็บอกกูดิ
Oh. I don't know if you want him to say it.
กูรู้หมดแล้วนะ ที่มึงเล่นซีนนั้นไม่ได้อะก็เพราะกู กูหารักกูมึงแล้ว
That's hard to hear, and that you have to think of someone else to be able to kiss someone.
แล้วที่มึงจูบกับพี่เขาอะ
Mm-hmm.
กูก็เห็นแล้ว
Oh wow. This is an intense scene already.
จริงๆแล้วมันคืออะไรอะมึงบอกกูหน่อยได้ปะกูขอร้องอะมึงพูดความจริงออกมาเถอะ
It's because he's connected to him in his passions and his desires. That's what it is.
อ๋อ ใจเย็น
คือมันเป็นแค่บทฝึกหัดอะ
No, you're lying, and don't lie to him.
ทำไมต้องจูบกับพุ่มกับอะของจริงมันก็ไม่ได้จูบจริงปะ ไฟ
Exactly.
ไปก่อนอะมันคืออะไรอะ
Good on you. Good on you, Oh.
แล้วกูก็มีปัญหากับซีนนั้นจริงๆอ่ะ มึงก็เห็น แล้วเขาก็ช่วยกูได้จริงๆ โอ้กูไม่อยากให้มึงมาคิดมากเรื่องนี้อะ
I still like Tay, and I
อีกแค่อาทิตย์เดียวละครกูก็จะเล่นแล้วอะเดี๋ยวพอละครจบ กูจะเลิกยุ่งกับพี่ใจ โอเคไหม
no, because you will do it again. It's that you two need to communicate, and this is the problem. There isn't this communication, and he can't trust you because both you and Jai have tried to manipulate the situation into your favor.
กูรู้ว่าที่มึงมาทำโปสเตอร์ละครเรื่องเนี้ยก็เพราะมึงกำลังพยายามอยู่
But you also have to give something back to him.
กูขอโทษนะ กูจะพยายามไปพร้อมกับมึงนะ
It's not working. Oeo loves him so much that he's trying to not think about what he saw, but I'm glad he confronted both of them even though he did it in very different manners, like there were different emotions. It's just like, look, he can't even kiss him. That was a very powerful moment. Because look at his reaction as well. He feels guilty, but there's more to it. You can't, once you overstep that boundary with your friend, your director, which you would never be able to do usually, that's a breach of contract and professionalism. You just can't, you can't turn back. I wonder if O is seeing Jai and Tae in this moment. See, he would.
แล้วมึงก็อย่าลืมสิ่งที่กูบอกมึงตลอด ใช้ความหมายทุกการกระทำกูจำได้อยู่แล้ว
Well, I mean, you always look. He's watching them. It was a beautiful scene from both of them, but there's so much going on behind the scenes. Like, there's a conviction in me about Jai.
ยินดีด้วยนะพระเอกเก่งมาก ขอบคุณนะ
The chemistry between these two, because they're such close friends in real life, it's amazing to see two people bounce off each other so well.
เหมือนกัน
He seems so sad when he says that. Not because he doesn't love him, in my opinion.
แล้วอะเดี๋ยวถือช้อนนี้ไว้ให้ก่อนเอ้ยไม่เป็นไร เฮ้ยแนนเดี๋ยวพี่ฝากมึงด้วยเดี๋ยวกูไปเอานะ
ได้
โอเค thank you thank you เนี่ย
See, that's actually a sweet moment from him. They're both trying in this
ขอบ
moment.
คุณนะคะ ครับ น้องเต๋ใช่ไหมคะ ใช่ครับ พี่ชมพู่นะคะ ครับ
An agent?
พี่นะคะ
Because these are called showcases, by the way. Yeah, these are showcases, and
เล่นละครอยู่
management, like
น้องเล่นเก่งมาก
agents come.
พี่อยู่ปีสาม
Agents come just watch you.
ครับ ขอบคุณนะพี่ พอดีว่าบริษัทเนี่ยกำลังจะเปิดซีรีส์เรื่องใหม่ แต่พี่ว่าบทเนี่ยค่อนข้างเหมาะกับน้องเลยอยากจะชวนน้องไปแคสสนใจไหม
See, this is what happens. You can get an agent, you can get a job from this.
สนใจครับพี่ถ้าอย่างนั้นน้องเต๋สะดวกให้เบอร์ไหมคะ ได้เลยครับ
And this is why showcases for actors are so important like this. This is what happens. You do a showcase, agents come, they talk to you
ถ้าอย่างนั้น
afterwards,
เดี๋ย
you
วพี่ลองไปเช็ค
network.
คิวดูนะคะ แล้วเดี๋ยวพี่ติดต่อไปว่าสะดวกเป็นวันไหนเนาะ ได้เลยครับพี่ โอเคแล้วเจอกันนะคะขอบคุณครับเจอกันครับพี่สวัสดีครับเชี่ยพี่จ๋าอยู่ไหนอะไหนบอกพี่จ๋าอะ
Why would you need to tell Jai? Your boyfriend's right there, and that's the first person you think of?
ไม่เป็นไรเดี๋ยวค่อยบอกตอนกินเลี้ยงจบโปรก็ได้
พี่คะ ขอถ่ายรูปด้วยได้ไหมคะ
ได้ครับได้ครับ
And now he's going to be pushed to the side. This is what's happening. See the full-on separation that's now transpiring. But I don't like that he thought of Jai straight away. The first person he should have looked at was Oh.
ว่าเต้ย
See, look,
ทำงาน
he
สวย
keeps
มากเลย
looking
นะ
at him.
ชอบใช่ไหมก็ตอนแรกก็ไม่ชอบกัน
มีจริงอ่ะ คนที่ชอบที่สุดอ่ะเป็นนู่นอวดตลอดแหละว่าแฟนตัวเองอ่ะเป็นคนท
อย่าไปฟังมันอีนี่
เอ้าทำไมเขินเนาะเขินเนาะ
เปล่า
And this is what you start doing when you're interested in someone. You pay attention to more on what they're doing. And the thing is, he thinks he's being subtle in these moments. I'm gonna say it now.
ำเอ๋
It's gonna end bad.
เขากลับเตะมาตั้งแต่ปีนึง
Like, it's gonna end bad for Tay and O. I can tell.
มันนั่งทำอะไรคนเดียวอะ
ข้างในแม่งเสียงดังอะกูเลยออกมานั่งพัก
Really?
ที่ไรอะ
เอาวะเราบวยที่เหลืออยู่อะ
Is Tay gonna confess his feelings to Jai? Something's about to happen between these two.
ละครจบแล้วรู้สึกไงบ้าง
ก็งงๆเหมือนกันนะ
I mean, it's his work, yeah.
โล่งอก
อืม
But he's got loads of
Oh, yeah.
options available to him afterwards.
ไอพี่ขิมกับพี่ท็อปแม่งบอกจะมาดู
Yeah.
แล้วแม่งก็ไม่มา
Oh, right.
ตามไปเตะแม่งเลย
I think friendship groups have also divided. You know, you don't have the time like you do at university to be
พี่
together.
เจมส์แม่งไม่มาดูทีสิกูจริงๆนะวะชัดเลย เกลียดกูแล้ว
And he still cares for James.
จะเป็น
But
กู
what
ก็ไม่รู้
happened
นะ
between you two?
ทำไมวะ
เอ้า คนเราจะไปดูละครของแฟนเก่าเราทำไมวะ ยังไงแม่งก็ต้องเอาเรื่องเราไปทำอยู่แล้วปะ
เออวะ
It is true. Why would your ex come unless you became good friends? Clearly, James and you ended on bad terms, but you miss him. James was clearly the one he will always think about. I think his first true love.
เมื่อกี้ตอนละครจบอะมีพี่คนหนึ่งชวนกูไปแคสซีรีส์ด้วยนะเว้ย
เชี่ยจริงดิ
Lucky him.
ที่มึงบอกว่า
Well done, though.
อาทิตย์ที่ผ่านมากูทำได้9กระโดดอะกูทำแบบนั้นได้ก็เพราะมึงแหละ มึงรู้ปะกูชอบทุกครั้งเลยอะที่
I
นี่
know
เป็น
this
ตัว
is
ละคร
supposed to be a sweet moment between them, but because of what's
ถึง
gone
มันจะเป็น
on,
ตัวละครที่เข้าใจยากอะ
it's
แต่ว่า
it's hard.
การที่กูได้เข้าใจไอ้คินอะมันเหมือนกูได้เข้าใจมึงด้วย
That's actually yeah, that's true. That's true.
แล้วกูก็ดีใจมากเลย ที่กูได้รู้จักมึงมากขนาดเนี้ย
Oh, he's telling
ตอน
him
นี้
he
กู
likes
เกลียด
him.
กับคินมาก
No, you're not saying him you're going to miss. You're going to miss him.
แล้วก็คงคิดถึงมึงด้วย
Yeah. Because they built up a friendship,
มึงบอกกูว่า
a flirtatious
ไม่
friendship.
ได้กินของมึงอะ
See, you're a kin. He wants to become his.
มึงก็เป็นพี่แฟนกูเหมือนกันนะ
Mm-mm. He literally just confessed to
แต่
you.
ทั้งหมดที่กูท
Was help you achieve a goal.
ำคือเพื่อให้มึงเล่นละครเรื่องนี้ให้ได้
Wasn't meant to be anything else.
มันก็เป็นแค่เรื่องงานทั้งนั้นแหละ
But then you shouldn't have kissed him. You knew he was attracted to you and you played
กู
on
จง
that.
ใจทำทุกอย่าง กูคิดไว้ทั้งหมดอะ
Yeah, that's not a shock.
เพื่อให้มึงรู้สึกกับกูแบบนี้อะ
This is what I mean about his manipulation. I think it's actually very callous and cold and not a good look on Jai. I think this is not a great episode
ให้มึง
for
บอกว่า
him.
ทุกๆการกระทำมันมีความหมายของมันเอง
Because he now has completely destroyed, or is about to destroy, his relationship with Oh. This is what I mean. He's destroying people's lives for the sake of
กูอะ
a play.
มันไม่มีความหมายอะไรเลยวะ
I do think there are some feelings there. It's
กูแค่อยากจะทำให้ฝันกูเป็นจริงอะ
I don't 100% believe what he's saying, but he's doing it to take a step back.
มึงเข้าใจกูใช่ปะ
It's better to end it now than to cause any more problems.
มึงนั่นแหละ ที่จะทำแบบนี้ มึงเป็นนักแสดงนะเว้ย มึงต้องจัดการตัวเองให้เป็น
No, actors are human beings too. They're allowed to have emotions and feelings. You can't
แล้
just
วมึงก็ต้องยอมรับ
think they can just stop them.
วิธีการกำกับ
That's a poor directing style. You don't manipulate, you don't kiss your actor. You don't do that. It's a very poor acting style. But he's doing it to get Tay to back off. Clearly he's going to America and Tay still has more education but also castings to go to. See, it's a moment like this, like Jai here. There's sadness to him, but he's trying to save Tay and himself. Just so. 'The music. I tried not to speak in case of copyright. See how the music there? No, see? Shift. Complete shift. I mean, he's singing to Jai. He can't hold it in anymore. You've completely broken this boy down.
โอ้
And you did it in front of everyone again.
นี่มึงถามจริง
No, you don't get to cry.
มึงให้กูแค่ไม่รู้เหตุที่เท่าไหร่วะมึงคิดว่ากูโง่มากเหรอมึงคิดว่ากูโง่มากเหรอมึงคิดว่ากูโง่มากเหรอ
He tried.
มึงคิดว่ากูโง่มากเหรอ
This is a really good scene. Added with the sound effects added on. Once something's gone that you truly miss, look at the reaction, see? He knows he messed up. Because the way he feels for O, he would never feel for Jai that way. Ever. This is what I mean about him ruining people's lives for the sake of his art. I think episode 3 and 4 together is a masterpiece.
กูรู้นะเว้ยว่าเรื่องที่กูทำอ่ะ
Here we go.
กูไม่มีทางจะโทษให้กูอ่ะมึงจะด่ากูก็ได้อ่ะมึงจะยังไงก็ได้อ่ะ
But please forgive me.
ถ้ามึงหันมาคุยกับกูหน่อยได้วะ
Let it all out. Let the hurt out. Let everything out.
มึงรักกูปะรักดิ
He
รัก
does.
ไปใจอ่ะ
It's not love. It's clearly not love.
กูเลิกยุ่งกับเขาแล้วมึงสบายใจได้กูไม่มีวันสบายใจหรอกแต่
Yeah. How'd you build that trust back up?
กูไม่ได้มีในสิ่งที่มึงต้องการหรอกเหมือนที่พี่เขามีอ่ะ
This is really hard.
บางทีกูอาจจะไม่ใช่คนที่มึงตามหาแต่แรกก็ได้เว้ย
We never know what the future holds. You two could meet up again in the future.
มึงเจอคนที่เขาให้ในสิ่งที่มึงต้องการได้อ่ะ
Yeah, because nothing is for
มึง
certain.
ก็ไปอยู่ดี ไม่อ่ะโอ้กูไม่ไปหรอกเราเลิกกันเถอะ
Yeah. I also believe that they're so young that they feel like not everyone's like this. Some people stay together, but not a lot of people don't stay together at this age. And it's a very young age to be with someone, especially for a long period of time.
ไม่เอาแบบนี้อะ
You did want
No.
that, because if Jai had said yes, you wouldn't be sat there trying to win all back.
กูไม่เคยคิดจะเลิกกับมึงเลยนะเว้ยมึงไม่เคยอยู่ในหัวกูเลยอ่ะ
You lie.
มึงจะทำแบบนี้ได้ไหมอ่ะกูเจ็บอ่ะเจ็บอ่ะ
And for quite a while now.
โอ้ขอร้อง
ไม่ไหวอ่ะไม่เอาอ่ะไม่เอาแบบนี้ใช่ไหม
It's both of these actors. Because in these moments, the actor plays Tay, you feel sad for him as well, even if you feel anger at the same time. He just does such a good job of crying. He doesn't want to start over. I think you need a break. I think you need to break up.
สงสารเพื่อน
You need to find one another, and that takes years. So maybe
ให้คนคนหน้ากูสักทีไม่อยากเห็นหน้ามึงแล้วอ่ะ
yeah.
โอ้ออกไป
Is it weird that this breakup scene was heartbreaking but beautiful at the same time? It wasn't too dramatic, it was just, the emotions were just right. Like, see this actor. Both of them. I'll never get over his use of silence to invoke 10 different emotions in me at one point. Here comes the resolution of him realizing he can't fight for this. Not right now. Also, to see just floods of tears on someone's face, because when we really cry, it is like snot, it's dribble, it's all of that. It's not, just one tear. And it's actually really difficult to cry. I don't know if they gave them smelling salts or the glue stick that they put underneath. Look. It needed to happen. And he hasn't responded to him. I get it. He's not going to respond anymore. If you want to have a break, you need to have that break. And this is what I mean about... Is this his roommate? Finally? Seen him back after all these years?
กูไปรับพัสดุมาเมื่อกี้อ่ะมีของด้วย
I mean, they were never close. It's a shame we never got to see a development between them, but Tate, if you think about it, has never truly had friends. Oh, he gave him back his stuff. It's official. Oh.
จะสอบแล้วไม่ใช่เหรอ ไม่ทำงานไม่อ่านหนังสืออะไรเร็วอ่ะกูเห็นมึงนอนอย่างเดียวมาทั้งอาทิตย์แล้วมึงกูเลยเลิกกับแฟนดิวันนี้กูไม่เห็นมึงไปนอนห้องแฟนเลย
Yeah, they're not together anymore. But he's actually trying with him. He actually tried.
มึงจะไปยุ่งเลยกูตั้งหนาเนี่ยต่างคนต่างอยู่มันปกติมันไม่ได้วะก็กูรำคาญอ่ะเวลาเจอคนทำตัวแบบเนี้ยแม่งเอาแต่นอนอยู่ได้ทั้งวันมึงจะเรียน5 ปีเหมือนกูหรือไง
Is it fine?
เสือกเลยปะ
Well, he did try to
แฟน
understand.
เก่าเททำไมกูจะไม่เข้าใจ
See? Maybe if you'd communicated, you two could have been friends. This is the problem with Tay, is he unfortunately has a self-centered nature.
เอาจริงอยู่ในห้องแม่งไม่หายเศร้าหรอกเชื่อกู
He doesn't have any friends. That's the problem.
ขนาดคนอย่างมึงยังมีเพื่อนเลยวะ
Why wouldn't he have friends?
อะไรวะ
แต่กูไม่มีอะ
That makes me
เพื่อน
very
กู
sad.
นะกูก็ไปมีเรื่องกับเขามา
Because he never really truly had friends, and I really do understand him in that aspect. And their friendship is ruined as well.
เพื่อนแฟนกูกูเป็นฝ่ายที่ยังไงเขาเกลียดกูหมดแล้ว
เพื่อนคนที่สนิทกับมึงที่สุดอะไม่เกลียดมึงหรอกมั้ง
The friend he was closest to is kind of the reason why.
เพื่อนที่สนิทที่สุดอะเขาโวยเว้ย
Hmm. He's one and only. This was a beautiful moment that we needed to have.
ไปช่วยกูกินแหนมเนืองหน่อยดิจู่ๆแม่กูก็ส่งมาให้เนี่ย
See,
ไม่กลัวเสีย
maybe he'll have a friend.
ทำดีกับกูทำไมวะ
ก็กูเดือดอะ เวลาอยู่ในห้องแล้วมีคนหนึ่งนอนเศร้าทั้งวันทั้งคืนที่กูเห็น กูไม่รู้จะทำตัวยังไง
He's trying to be nice.
เชื่อ
See,
กูเถอะ
they're both very similar in personality.
เดี๋ยววันหนึ่งที่มึงเศร้าๆอยู่เดี๋ยวแม่งก็หายไปเองอะแต่พวกมึงแต่นอนไม่ทำเหี้ยอะไรแบบเนี้ยมีหวังเสียใจตอนหลังแน่ที่ปล่อยเวลาทิ้งไว้เปล่าๆอะ
As hard as it is to hear,
ไม่ได้กินแล้วอะ
there's coping mechanisms.
แม่ก็ส่งทำมาให้ไม่ใช่แหนมเนืองอะไรวะนึกว่าจะได้ของกินหิวอะไปกินข้าวโรงอาหารกันปะ
This is a
เดี๋
really,
ยวเข้าห้องน้ำแป๊บ
really nice moment. Is this the agent?
สวัสดีครับ
น้องเต๋ใช่ไหมคะ
Yeah, it is. It's the
ชม
agent.
เองนะ
See, life continues
จำได้ไหม
on.
ที่เราเคยคุยกันเรื่องแคสต์งานนะคะ
ครับผม
Life goes on.
อืม
คุยอยู่ได้
คนอย่างมึงอะเวลาแบบเนี้ยอยู่คนเดียวไม่ได้หรอก
Well, he's not. He's got his friends.
โคตรดูถูก จริงๆอะมึงจะนอนค้างบ้านกูต่อได้นะพ่อแม่กูเขาไม่ค่อยอยู่แล้ว
Don't think he wants
เกร
to.
งใจอะงั้นนอนแล้วเดี๋ยวพรุ่งนี้ตื่นมาติวกันต่อ มึงเอาหมดอะไรเพิ่มปะ
Oh, what? His mum left.
เฮ้ยกระดาษอะไรอะเล่นของเหรอ ยันสำรวงมึงเฮ้ยไม่เป็นไรพอแล้ว
I think he needed to
นี่จะ
see
ให้ปิดไฟ
that.
ให้เลยปะ
This house, though. So jealous. I like that he didn't throw it away. I think he'll always keep a bit of tea with him. He doesn't have anyone to sleep next to now. It hurts. His comfort is gone.
โอเครู้ถ่ายเลยถ่ายไปเบาๆ
Is he gonna lay with them? Look at these two.
อ้าวนึกว่ามึงหลับไปแล้วทำไมยังไม่นอนอ่ะ
He can't. He needs his friends. Oh, they're gonna lay with him. Oh. Oh. At least he's got a close group knit of friends who can always be there for him. He was so alone in the first episode, and now he's got so many people around him, where Tay it's the complete opposite.
ผู้ชายห่วยๆอ่ะลืมไม่เหอะอย่าไปให้ค่ามันเลย
You can't just stop caring about someone like that. It's not how it works.
กูไม่อยากเห็นมึงเป็นแบบนี้นะ
He'll get over it. Let him cry.
กูจะลืมมันให้ได้
I don't think you'll ever forget him, but you will move on.
อะไรนะอยู่กูอยู่นะ
See the contrast? He had people surrounding him, comforting him. He's got no one. I know he's going to a casting, but it's a nice contrast for him being alone.
ครับพี่ก็เห็นรูปพวกนี้ค่ะ
Oh, he's going to have to hide that
คือ
he
พี่
had
เห็
a
นตั้งแต่
relationship
วัน
with a
ที่เรา
guy.
เจอกันครั้งแรกแล้วนะคะ ว่าน้องสองคนเนี่ยสนิทกัน
Especially if he wants to work in China.
สมมุตินะคะถ้าวันนี้น้องเต๋มีชื่อเสียงโด่งดังมาก มีคนติดตามเยอะแยะมากมาย เขาต้องถามกันแน่ๆเลยค่ะว่าเพื่อนคนนี้เป็นใคร พี่ก็เลยอยากจะแนะนำให้น้องเต๋เนี่ยลบรูปพวกนี้ออกก่อนได้ไหมคะ
It's homophobia, but it's
ถ้าเราแค่ซ่อน
also...
พวกนี้ไว้ได้ไหมครับพี่
I get it. It's a conservative
พี่
country.
คิดว่าถ้าวันหนึ่งไอจีน้องเต๋
And
โดนแฮ็กขึ้นมา
being gay or being bi in his case isn't accepted. And I hate this, that his career
พี่ว่าดีกว่า
has to go through this. It means he has to hide who he is. This is really sad. It just shows you as well how little we are respected. Before we get to the topic of episode 3 and 4, what I wanted to do was have a guess of what's to come in the last episode. My prediction is they will see one another in the future, so maybe 3 or 4 years will have passed, maybe more, and they will have a chance meeting where they will cross paths, and from there they will have maybe a talk, and through maybe that feelings start to stir up again, and maybe they decide to go on a date or just build up from their friendship. But I definitely can see them meeting up again. I can see them stirring up old emotions. I think Tay will take complete ownership of what he did wrong, because he will be older and he will understand clearly what he did was wrong, but also take ownership of the situation in general, not just try to pass a bit of buckle blame, try to manipulate the situation. And then I think it will end with them together. I think that they will realize that there are still feelings, and from that we either get the beginning of a relationship or the beginning of a very beautiful friendship that will once again lead into a relationship. As I'm going to talk about episode 3 and 4, clearly 4 will be a lot clearer on my mind. With episode 3, it was a very taste-centric episode. So the emotions we get from it are always going to be heightened towards him because it was as if we had a first POV, which is point of view. And clearly the topic matter, the subject matter, is a very touchy one. What we have seen develop over the episodes is a kind of flirtatious friendship with Jai and Tay. We've seen that Tay doesn't have friends really, and it's very hard for him to communicate with people. He's always very socially awkward and by himself. And then what we saw in episode 3 was the even further separation of Bo and Tay, and how they've become completely different people. And this is what happens when you get older. That people change, the person you're with changes, because as we get older we do change. And we clearly can see O is more comfortable in his skin, he's got a great group of friends, he's in a course that he loves to do, whereas Tay is very focused on making this acting career happen. He was also going through that frustration of just not getting any casting, struggling, feeling as if maybe he's not good enough, seeing people that he loves and cares for take a different career path because they just can't afford to keep it up, or it's not their dream. And then with Jai, what we saw was he now was the director. You know, it was his project, so he had a clear goal in mind. And because they were working on this play together, for Tay it was looking at someone who he respects, he admires, and has grown an infatuation for. And I'll get into that in a minute. But so from there, what we've seen develop is him growing frustrated, not being able to get the scene correct how Jai wants. And then what Jai has done was communicate with other people about these issues and clearly manipulated the situations all along. And he then, you know, he took Tay to see plays with him. He got Tay to kind of understand that someone else understands him. You know, they had that kind of meal together where it felt like a date, and they were having these discussions, which we saw then that Jai was going to New York, which implied very heavily to us that whatever could happen between them just won't, because Jai is very focused like Tay on his career and he wants to have a career. That's why he's heading to New York. He's trying to do things for himself. And I think that's also his way of impressing Tay, but also telling him subtly that, you know, he is leaving and he won't be around for much longer. And then he took him to a secluded spot that James took him to, which was a nice callback to his ex, which clearly shows he still thinks about him, and I'll get into that from episode 4. And then he told Tay about the play, you know, other things that he hadn't told anyone else, and that was then to gain Tay's trust. He wanted Tay to know that there was someone who could relate to him, and that logbook was also a means to let out all of Tay's frustrations, insecurities, whatever he needed to not just build up on the character, but I think to let himself go, let him understand himself better. And then from that we did get something I'm not very happy with, which was Jai's manipulation of intimacy between partners, because Tay couldn't remember his first time, which isn't actually that shocking. Like, if you've been with someone for so long, and clearly when you two are not communicating, and which they were terrible at, O and Tay, you know, things like that you can't forget. Not everyone remembers their first time. I mean, maybe elements of it. I can remember my first time, but in a general sense, you know, you're not going to remember everyone or every time you slept with someone. Well, you just, I don't think for most people, unless, you know, you've only slept with one person. But even then, you don't remember every single feeling or time. It's just human nature. But for Tay to sleep with O, it was a clear lack of disrespect on his part towards you don't do that. OAO has been there for him and has, you know, his feelings have never wavered, even when they've gone through rough patches. He's always thought of Tae the same way, whereas Tae is so confused because OAO has changed so much and he has flourished. And originally it was the other way around. So as time's gone on, O has figured himself out, got a group of friends, loves what he does, and Tae has kind of, his friendship group has shrunk, and it was more of an actor type of friendship where you don't know if you can truly be friends with them because you don't know if it's just networking and business, and that's a hardship trying to be friends with actors. And then he's also quite socially awkward, and then he couldn't get the feelings right, and I clearly could tell that they weren't great with their chemistry. They were much better in episode 4, but that's done on purpose. And then to have the scene at the end where Jai gets Tae to then relay his emotions to him, and then he kissed him, which, you know, there was no kiss in the play. And then when Jai leant back into the kiss, which, you know, people get caught up in the moment, but he leaned back into the kiss. So what you then did, that person being Jai, which is you gave Tae that moment to think there could be more. And then we saw was, see them and catch them out. And that's gotta hurt. To see the person you're in love with, to then be kissing someone and do these extra workshops, it's hurtful. And then it ended there, and now we can get to episode 4. I just want to say both episodes together, and I said this in the episode, is a masterpiece. Honestly, beautiful together. Also, with the whole element of cheating with episode 3, it's a very hard thing. It's not as black and white as people think it is. And I saw such anger towards Tae, which I completely understand. But I also feel like we saw it coming. We saw that something was going to transpire between Jai and Tae, because there was always a flirtatiousness about them, and I think Jai uses his looks and his sexual appeal and his sexuality to his favor, and Tae is caught up in the moment. I will say this again, Tae does not love Jai. Tae was infatuated and a little bit obsessed with him because he respected him and found him inspiring. With the cheating aspect, it really is not as black and white as people think. You know, there are layers, there are things that happen in this situation. Doesn't mean that I'm saying Tae should be let off the hook. I'm not saying that at all, but I do think we could see it coming. We could see elements of how he feels about the situation, and of course he has to take ownership. But I don't think, for me, it ruined the character of Tae. It made him even more complex, it made him even more real. And I have seen people, including myself, either go through this situation or go through the feelings O's feeling, or go through what Tae is feeling and how that has happened. And I think things can just happen sometimes, and that's why there needs to be a discussion. And I think this show personally did a great job of showing what happens as we get older, and that sometimes we're not meant to be together at that time, and that we can get caught up in the moment, forgetting that there are outside sources and that we could be hurting other people. Now with episode 4, which was such a good episode, having the awkwardness between Jai and Tae at the beginning made complete sense. It's clear Tae wanted to understand what just happened. Was he imagining it? And then Jai was... And something that Jai has done throughout is he's trying to protect himself, but he's also trying to protect Tae. He is trying to make sure the situation doesn't get out of hand, because he doesn't feel as strongly for Tae as Tae feels for him. And then we got that build up of, the awkwardness where being around Jai just made him stiffen up because he couldn't understand his own emotions and feelings. And then coming to watch the performance, and something that really bothered me about Jai, and I think should bother people in a general sense. You can still like him, people did, but it was a bad episode for him, which was was watching and he was right there, and then Jai literally said, do a memory recall, but don't do it about Ban, which was the character, the actress's character, but think about him. What's her name? Dream, I think. So think about him, and then to get the scene done, that's what he did. He did a recall of Jai. That was hurtful because Jai manipulated him in that moment, and he did it in front of his boyfriend, and he knew what he was doing, and it's very clear Jai doesn't mind stepping on people's backs and hurting you, even if sometimes you can see it was self-preservation from him. What he still did was manipulate the situation, and that makes me wonder, is he like that all the time, and is this why he has exes, and this is why does James hate him? Because he clearly uses people. And then after the scene was done and O confronted him, and I'm very happy O did that, it was the way he manipulated that situation to make O look like the bad person and himself the victim, take ownership of what happened. And it clearly showed a complete lack of care and morals on Jai's part in that moment. Because also what was beautiful was O's completely different reaction to both of them. He was more standoffish, he's more aggressive in how he spoke to Jai, whereas O, his first thing is, do you love me? Because he's always afraid that one day Tay is going to say no. And he was so sad. And when they were in the car, and he couldn't even kiss him back. But I'm glad he told him he saw everything, because it made Tate realize in that moment that I was caught out. And that's something that was frustrating, because when he came back home after the kiss and he took a shower, he wasn't going to own up. I mean, reading that logbook for must have been very difficult, because as you read the logbook, and I know I'm going back to that point, but I've just remembered, it was very hard to watch, because as it progressed, it went from a bit of his insecurities and how all has changed, but he still loves him. He made sure to emphasize that. It went then to his communication with Jai, and he'd be like, Jai's an amazing director, he's this, he's that, he's this. And you can clearly see the shift from my partner to Jai and his infatuation, and that's the problem. That's all it is. You're willing to give up that for someone who doesn't want you, for someone who wants you for everything you are. And then confronting, and then going straight into the play. And the play was pretty good for the minimal part it was. It was a showcase, as I told all of you. So as you all know, showcases literally are, you do end of year performances where talent agents will come and watch you, and then afterwards the show they'll talk to you and they'll give you a card, or they'll say, we would love you to audition for this, or to join our agency. You'll get emails and stuff like that, and that's kind of how it goes, and that's how some people get agents. Usually a lot of people, that's how they get agents and work. And then we had a little nice moment where Tay got rid of the flowers so he could hold Ao's flowers, and the hug between them. But then when the agent came, the first thing he did was think of Jai. That hurt, because O had tried to be strong the whole time. Instead, he's allowed these little slip-ups that clearly Tay has had throughout the week we didn't get to see. They must have transpired quite a bit. And then when they were at the restaurant, the bar, clearly Tay was looking at Jai the whole time. He was willing to give up O. When they had that talk downstairs, he was confessing he was willing to give up O to date Jai, but as I've said, and I'll say this again and again and again, they would never have lasted. Their paths were already separated. Their attraction to each other was not on equal level footing, and it was very clear that the Giants were. I do think there were some emotions between them. There was an attraction, but I also think Jai knew he could never be with Tay anyway, even if he did feel something for him, as we see by the end. But then when he said, I set all of this up, I manipulated this, and this is my directing style, and you should respect that. No. Let me make something very clear. You should never have to respect a director making you kiss him for a scene for you to invoke emotions. That's not a directing style. That's abuse of power, and it's unprofessional. And that's what I've noticed with Guy, is that he is too manipulative and very unprofessional, and then he wants to get angry at you because you don't like that, and he says it's his directing style. That's not a style of directing. That is abuse. And in that process, he ruined his friendship with Tay. A friendship that I do think he valued. Because Jai, throughout the whole show, obviously I don't know about episode 5, I don't know if he'll be in that, but there was always a look he gave people, and it's as if he's reading the situation around him. So I always wondered if he read and calculated their relationship, O and Tay's, and then wondered how he could work around it. But when clearly when he confessed that he just manipulated the situation and that there are no feelings, yes, it's self-preservation and it's to get Tay to wake up, but it was just another instance where you look at Jai and you have to say, you're not that good of a person to do that. You don't. He could have easily let him down and said, what I feel for you isn't what you feel for me. And when he said it was work related, I was like, I get that. Like, he was very quite clear about that. He never made it anything more apart from when they kissed, and they really went for a kiss. So it shows that he got caught up in the moment. And then after that, they have their moment, and then when Tay and O were singing to one another, and the reason I didn't speak was for copyright, in case that gets blocked. The fact that he was looking at Jai the whole time, and let's not forget, Jai only looked at him once that we got to see in those moments. And to have O really distraught and looking at the person he loves, look at someone else and sing this song to them. It's really hurtful. And this is the selfishness of Tay. And this is what I mean about tunnel vision with him, is he doesn't know how to, he's so socially awkward that I don't know if he even knows he's doing it until it's brought up to him, and then someone has to directly say, this is what you're doing, or he sees it. And I know from the behind the scenes that the actor playing O did not want to hit the actor playing Tay. He got quite emotional about it. But that scene where he was hitting him with the flowers and letting him all out and saying he couldn't turn a blind eye was stunning. Because we also then saw Jai kind of come to see it. And those moments where it's like, but you caused a big part of this. Obviously, don't take the blame away from Tay. Tay's to blame as well. But I think you can't also just let off Jai. And I think it was at that moment where he realised as well he messed up. But watching Tay cry for O, that's how you know he loves him. And that's why I say he does love him. And I mean, he truly loves him. He was his constant. And he was something that he never wanted to lose. It's just what happens as you get older, people change, and he didn't know how to adapt to that because he's not good with things changing, because he doesn't know himself how to do that. And it just culminated in this, and then their breakup, even though he said I love you, I'm glad that O didn't just accept him back, and O was like, you need to leave, and hasn't communicated with him since. But the beauty in the silence of the actor who plays Tay, I can't express how good that actor does it. Just watch his moments of silence and you'll see 10 different emotions go across his face, and it will make you feel every single emotion. And then to have them separated, and then really sad, it really made me feel sad in this moment, was seeing the group of friends comfort O, and you'll see he's got these group of friends, and then literally seeing Tay have no one, like no one. The one thing he had is gone. It's not to say you should forgive him for what he did, but it also shows you that Tay's never had a friend to tell him this is wrong, or come and enjoy yourself and do this. He's literally never had anyone. He's been so isolated by himself that he could have used a friend to really drill it into him, like, you can't be like this, you can't do this, or that's great, you know, you should go out. It was nice that he got his flatmate after all of this time to talk and communicate with him. That was really nice. So hopefully they stay friends. And in the end, it made me both sad, frustrated, and so relatable that I'm very lucky to live in a country where your sexuality doesn't mean too much, or at least it's starting not to. But even in the UK, it actually was still a hindrance. You know, even 10 years ago, the idea of coming out, or the people were out, but the idea of really coming out could ruin your career. And same for if you were trying to make it in Hollywood. And so for his agent, or his talent agent, to say you need to delete these pictures of the person who means everything to you, and obviously he wants his career and he's going to do that. It's also a closing chapter for them, because it means he's gone. And it made me sad and really angry, because it's like you have to give up yourself for a career, and it's like you're hiding yourself, but you're also protecting yourself. And he wants to make it in China. Clearly, you can't be LGBTQ positive or friendly or part of the community, because it's not looked upon in a favorable light, especially for acting. Like, and it makes me sad that your sexuality can completely make someone not want to hire you. And so I get it on take side as an actor's perspective, because it still happens in a lot of countries. It just made you sad to think that's how it ended for them in this moment. I've actually loved this season as well, as much as I loved the first season, because it's more adult, it's darker themed. There are issues that I relate to very well and much more. And I got why people were so angry with Tay, but I still really like the character of Tay. And there was so many conflicting things that were going through his life and O as well, and it just culminated. And I just don't think it's easy in black and white to just say he's evil, he's bad, you ruined his character. They didn't ruin his character. His character is human, and you make mistakes, and he has to pay the price for these mistakes. You know, you can't think you can do that and get away with it, and so he's paying that price, while also getting his dream. But his dream, I don't think, will mean that much to him without really having that person by his side who he wants more than anything. I actually think he wants OAO more than he wants to be an actor. It just will take him time to realize that. Thank you for watching. That was I Promised You the Moon episode 4, and I will be back with the final episode